Hello and welcome to Trojan Talk. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. With me today is Micah Mermilliod. He is an artist with an exhibit at the International Art Center. Some of the work we're going to see scrolling behind us here on the screen. But Micah, I want to thank you for joining me here today to talk about some of this amazing, stunning artwork that we're going to talk about here today. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
And first off, the name of the exhibit that was on display at the International Art Center is Quarantine Walks.
It
right?
is, yeah.
So all of this work, we'll get some of the technical stuff because it's some really cool stuff, but the basis of it, the Quarantine Walks, what inspired this kind of idea to throw this together?
So well before quarantines, I always enjoyed going on walks, usually around my neighborhood. And I know whenever quarantine first hit and everyone was told to stay home and stay in place, for probably that first 2 weeks or so, I was kind of a little bit lost. I think most people probably were. Didn't really know what to do, couldn't go to work anymore, couldn't go to school, couldn't go to my studio space. Felt a little bit lost, felt like I was floundering a little bit. And eventually I started going on walks again, and it was great. Gave me some exercise, got me out of the house. They told everyone it was safe to do that, so I felt pretty good about it. And while I was out on these walks, I started noticing changes in my community. And it was also springtime then, so sometimes it would be good things like flowers blooming, or I would discover a new place that I'd never been to before. Some of it's a little bit more, I guess, negative, but you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah. And it's a photography exhibition, but it's, as we can see behind us here, it's images put together in kind of like this patchwork, like kind of quilt image. So this seems like it takes a lot to get all these various images together to form this one larger image.
Some of them do take quite a while to put together. I like to kind of think of it as making almost a mini documentary of each scene, where each image is almost like its own little still. And honestly, the way that I create these images is probably pretty similar to just kind of panning a camera and like zooming in and out of a scene.
And this is done by a single camera. Each of these images, you're taking an individual picture. This isn't like some Photoshop creation where you're splitting it all up.
It literally is like each of these are their own image. I shoot with a Fuji Instax Neo 90. So it's literally you just hit a button and that's the picture that pops out.
It's similar to the old Polaroid pictures that come out of there.
Similar.
And so that's where you see the framing on each of these. That's the framing of the image as it comes out of the camera.
As it comes out of the camera.
And is there any kind of science or math behind how these images go together, or is it just kind of done?
So when I first started putting these together, absolutely. I had it like gridded out and was being very formulaic and mathematic about it. And honestly, it just didn't work. So I had to kind of rethink the approach, throw all that out the window. And I just shoot pretty much all of these from the hip now. I just kind of make them in the moment.
And then in some of the images, and we're showing here, but even when we'll see it in the IAC, you'll see that they're not all perfect. That the images don't match up perfectly, and that comes from that shooting of the hip. But it makes for an interesting angle of how you're looking at things there.
Yeah, I absolutely embrace that. I like to call the style Instax cubism. So I like to kind of move around in the scene, catch things from different angles. And yeah, like you were saying, just kind of breaking up the usual, image as you would see it.
And one of the ones, I'll say one of the ones we're seeing here that comes up behind us is a grocery store.
Yeah.
And talking about quarantine, grocery stores were the focus of quarantine life. Those people in the shots, like you've got different people in there. How long did it take you to get all that? And is it the same people in all the shots?
So that one actually took a little bit more time than the other ones to put together. Because I was also trying to be mindful of the people that were in the shots. So every time I would take a picture, like a flash would go off or just something where it made it obvious that there was somebody in the corner taking pictures of you while you were already stressed out trying to shop. So I was definitely trying to be mindful of that and kind of spread out how fast I would shoot it. So there was definitely a lot more time that passed in that image. Usually an image that size would maybe take me at most like 15, 20 minutes to put together. That one probably was closer to 45 minutes to an hour, because I would just kind of take a picture or two, tuck it away really quick, and then wait, kind of let the scene settle back down a little bit, not freak anyone out too much.
Well, and a grocery store, you know, talking about quarantine, was there any kind of gear towards I'm going to do some things themed to the quarantine, or was it just part of your natural everyday life that you were capturing there?
It was a little bit of both. There were definitely images like that where it was a little bit more, I went in knowing, you know, this is what I was going to take pictures of. But there was also some that were kind of like happy surprises. I wanted all of them to definitely have a kind of slice of life feel though. And I wanted all of them to be, I guess, relatable to other people that were going through the same experience.
Well, folks have a chance to check out the experience and its full exhibit at the IAC through April 15th. Micah, I want to thank you for joining us here today to give us a little explanation of this very intricate artwork and art display here. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
and
thanks for having me.
Good luck taking some more pictures.
Yeah, absolutely will. Yeah,
Thank you.
It was an honor being here.
All right, and thank you for joining us on today's edition of Trojan Talk.